Hi Hal, in this video I am going to cover what is variable and how many types these variables are divided and what are the subdivisions are available under the variable types and I am going to cover what is instance variable and in future videos I will try to cover what is static variable and what is local variable. Before starting with these divisions, right, let me start with what is variable. Generally, I just written some content for saving the time here, but thing is, I will try to explain what is variable. Variable is nothing but it's a container. It is used for storing some value. That value might be integer, that value might be string, that value might be boolean, that value might be the float, that value might be the double. It can be anything, but major purpose of the variable is storing some value. Okay, here variables are divided two categories, or I can say two divisions. One is division one more is division two. These divisions, we're having subdivisions as well. I will try to cover them as well. You can see the first division one is there. In this division, based on the type of the value which we are going to store inside a variable, these variables are divided into two types. Let me repeat again. Whatever the variable type, whatever the value type or variable type which we are going to store inside a particular variable, based on that variable type, we are dividing these variables into two types. One is primitive type variables and then reference type variables. Let me cover what is primitive type variables here. Primitive type variables means like this. Let me try to cover. For example, if I declare like this int a, this is, let me write the comments. This is int primitive type variable. Okay, because it is storing only integer value. And then if I write like double D, this is a double primitive type variable. And let me write boolean as well. For example, boolean B. B. This is boolean primitive type variable. Okay. And in the same way, if you have string, right? In the string, the S should be capital letter S. This is a string primitive type variable. Okay, and these are the available variables types under the primitive type variables. Let me go to the reference type variables. Here reference means, in Java, reference means we will create in one object. That object will be held by some reference variable. Let me try to show you that one. For example, I have a student class. I mean, what is these students class are? Custom type classes. Apart from existing Java classes, we can create our own classes. Whatever we are creating daily, right? Those classes are, custom classes only. I will create today as well one custom class, and I will show you how to create object for it, how to hold that object. I will show you everything in one demo program. Here, reference type variable means we will create one object. That object will be held by one reference variable. Let me show you. For example, I am going to create one class object called student. Yes, here in the Java we will create object with help of new operator. We need to use new, and then we need to use student. Okay, use this one. Here if you see, when this line of code is executed, right, what will happen is, let me try to show that with image so that you can understand very quickly. When you use this one, student is equal to new student, right? When you use this code, this line of code, what will happen is at runtime, I mean while JVM is executing our program, while JVM is when JVM is executing our program, it will create one object like this, and this object is, what is the object name? That object is student object. Okay, the object of, just for denoting, I mean representing purpose, I am making like obj. Obj is nothing but the object here. This object will be pointing by one reference variable called, let me show you. What is the reference variable we have used while creating this one? S. You can see I can move bit later, this one bit further. One second. Let me use, yeah, one second guys. Let me move to up this one bit. It's not, it's not working. Yeah, you can see this is the S variable, or else I can remove. One second. Yeah, you can see this is, while this line of code is executed at runtime by the JVM, JVM will create one student object with the name student, and this will be, and to hold this object, whatever the variable name you have used right here, this is the variable name here. This S represents the variable name here. That S variable will point this one. One second. This is the variable name. This variable name, this is the variable name. This variable name, which is nothing but the S, thus that S will point to whatever the object is created by the JVM at runtime. That will happen while this line of code is executed at runtime. Okay, this is example for the reference type variable. Then next, going to the division 2. Under the division 2, actually behave the division 2, how the variables are categorized, or I mean declared with different types, right? It is based upon the behavior and position of the variables declared inside a particular class. We are dividing we are dividing variables into three parts. The first one is instance variable, then second one is static variable, third one is local variables. So let me repeat again. Based on behavior and position of declaring the variables inside class, variables are divided into three types. First one is instance variables, the next one is static variables, third one is local variable. So in this video I am going to cover instance variables. What is instance variable, where we need to declare instance variable, how we need to access the instance variables inside the static area, how we need to access the instance variables inside the I mean non-static area, how, what will happen at runtime, and what JVM is does for this variables, instance variables. So where these variables will be stored inside JVM, and where these variables will be destroyed, at what time these variables will be destroyed. So everything I am going to cover in this video, so please try to listen very careful, because these whatever I am trying to explain, all those are interview questions only. When you go to any interview, right, you can easily crack it, you can get your job. Okay, let me go down and I will show you what are the contents I am going to cover in this particular video. So I am going to cover instance variable. Under the instance variable, I am going to show you what is instance variable, and how to access instance variables inside static area, how to access instance variable inside from non-static or instance area, what is the default behavior for the JVM, default behavior for the instance variable by the JVM, where instance variables will be stored inside JVM. These topics I am going to cover. Let me tell you what is instance variable. Generally, instance variables are whatever the uh, you have seen, right? These primitive variables int a, double d, boolean b, string sc. These are these int a, double b, double d, boolean b. We can call it as an instance variable when these are declared inside the class, and these instance variables are if the variables are declared inside class, okay, and outside constructor. Don't worry, I will cover this constructor and the loops, I mean hoops concepts. For now you just note like we're having constructor in the Java. I will make one video on in-depth analysis on constructor, don't worry. uh, Outside the constructor and outside the block, this block might be static block, instance block, okay, instance block, and then and we're having method, okay. If the variables are declared inside the class and outside the constructor, outside the block, outside a method, those variables are called as instance variables. So this is the definition for the instance variables. For this, let me try to create uh, one class, one demo class to show where how to declare these variables. Okay. Then I will go to how to access these variables inside static area. Then I will go to next one. Then I will cover all this. Let me go and create one class for here. Go to file here, click on new, and go to Java here. It will open on class here. Let me try to delete this one, or else, yeah. I'm just creating class syntax public. We need to use class name like I will make it like instance variable demo, okay. And then inside this one I will create one uh, main method, so that public static void main, it will take string array. Let me write string array, and the reference variable is args here. The args is not a mandate one. If you want, you can give anything, but it's as per the Java. It is we need. It's better to maintain the same name. Okay, this is the main method. So here if you see, I am going to declare few variables which is inside the class, outside the main method, and outside the constructor, outside the block. Okay. For now, let me try. Let me write like uh, I am declaring like int a equal to some 10. Okay. And then I am declaring like boolean b equal to true. Okay. And then I'm writing like string name equal to string we need to place inside double quotes. Okay. I'm writing like ram. Okay. And then I am going to write one more as well. Double D we can use here, and then I'm writing like 10.5. Here remember, for the double we don't need to mention anything here. For the float only we need to mention F for. Okay, let me write that one as well, so that you guys can easily remember. F equal to some 20.5 at the end, to make to denote this variable is a float variable, right? We need to use F. Okay. If you see here, I have declared these variables inside the class. Where the class starts? The class starts at the line number 2 and the class ends at line number 17. That means these are inside the class only. Whatever the variables I have declared, these are the inside the class. Okay, then the next step is what I need to show you outside the constructor. Generally, let me go here. The constructor is, we will write like this. The constructor name should be same as class name only. I am just writing one constructor here. Just uh, just remember this one. That's it. I am writing like this. Simply, this is one constructor. Okay, and it should be like, let me write public. Okay, this is one constructor here. Whatever we have written at line number 10 to 13, right? This entire block is a constructor. Okay, so the first one, whatever I have told here, the variables need to be declared inside the class, outside the constructor. This is clear, right? Then it should be outside the block as well. Outside the block means you just written something here like this. I am just writing the one system dot out dot println. Okay, for now, system dot out dot println of. I am writing like this. I am printing some content here. I am not doing anything here. Just remember, this is one block here. Okay, inside instance block. Okay, just remember. And then I am writing one same. I will let me copy this one so that I can save some time here. Uh, Let me go inside this constructor here as well. Use control here. This is inside constructor. Okay. Then come here. So as I mentioned here, this is a constructor, and then come down here. This is instance block. Okay. And the next one is uh, this is the method. Okay. If you see, as per my definition, if the variables are declared inside the class, outside the constructor, outside the block, and outside the method, those variables are called as instance variables. Okay, if you go and see my definition here, I have declared these variables. Line number, if you see, these are the variables. These variables I declared where I have declared inside the class and the outside the constructor. This is the constructor code. Whatever I have written, this is the constructor code. Okay. The variables are declared outside the constructor only, right? And then come here. This is the instance block. The variables are declared outside the block only, right? Then come down. These variables are declared outside the method only, right? So as per my definition, whatever the variables we have declared inside the class, outside the method, outside the constructor, outside the block, right? Those variables are we are calling as instance variables. That is the first one, first definition. Then next, let me go here. See, the first definition is first one is completed. The next topic is how to access these instance variables inside the static area. So we just declare the variables. Okay, now I want to read these variables and I want to print inside the static area. Static area means if this is the method, right? If you see, this is the method. This method is represent. I mean, declared with static. If the method is represented with static, right? This method we can call it as a static method, or we can say static area. So now whatever the variables are declared here, those variables I want to access inside the static area. How to access? Let me show you. So that is the second point here. How to access instance variables inside the static area. For this one, we need to go here and then we need to create one object. What is the object here? Whatever the class name is there, right? That class name we need to take this one. Just copy this name and come down here. We just need to come here. We need to create one variable. How to create a object here? Just use the class name and then give some reference variable like instant, or else you can use instance. You can use obj, and then you need to use new. You need to use same class name here, and then you need to use here. See, once after we have created object here, we created object. Okay, after creating the object, we just need to read these variables. Whatever the variables we have declared: int variable, boolean variable, string variable, double, float. These variables I want to read those variables inside this static area, and I want to print what are the values we are getting for those variables. So here I want to print like system dot out dot println of. I want to print like uh, I just want to use instance variable. Control C you can use, and then come here. We want to print like this. I will let me show you. Control V. I want to use like what is the instant variable name here? A. Here instead of this one, I can use A value. Okay, I am using some space as well here. So to get the A value here, we need to use object name. On the object name, whatever the variable is there right here, that variable name we need to use here. Variable name is A. In the similar way, let me copy this one. This time I want to print boolean value. Let me see. This time what is the boolean value? Boolean variable is here. If you see, the boolean variable name is b. I want to print this one true here. So use like on the object, we need whatever the object we have created on that object, we need to use variable name. Okay, variable name is b. In the similar way, I want to use what is that name. Here the name values you just need to use, here the name is string type, the data type is string, right? That the variable name is name. That name you need to use here. So come here and then use name here, and then come here. What is the other variable we are having? We're having d. Boolean double is there, d. If you see, double d, the variable name is d here. We just need to use d here. And the next one is, we want to print float value. We just need to use f here. And then here the variable name you need to use f here. Let's see, after executing this line of code, this indentation is mandatory, but for now you can leave it. But while you are doing the coding in your real-time project site, you need to follow this indentation. Then only they will understand like you are a real-time employee. Otherwise, they will think like you are a fake. You have shown just some fake experience and you have entered into industry. So please try to maintain indentation as well, so that you will not be caught in any interview. Okay, and even you are working in the software companies. Yeah, let me see. I just written this code. Let me save this one with some uh, whatever the class name you have read, same class name we have to use here. Then control V here, click on save, go to that particular location, and then come here, open the command prompt here, search for use Java C for compilation, instance variable, click on this one. Let's see, we will get any compiler. We did not get any errors at the compilation. Let me try to run this program. For running this program or executing this program, we need to use Java command. Then use instance variable demo dot class here. As I told you, we have declared int variable with a10, boolean variable with true, string variable with ram, double variable with 10.5, float variable with 20.5. So while after executing these lines of code, we should get here 10 here. We should get here what is this b value, right? Boolean true we should get, and then we should get here what is instance variable name. We need to get ram here, and then we need to get 10.5 here. We need to get 20.5 here. See, let's see whether we are getting all these values or not here. Come and execute this one. See, first, you forget about first two lines, instance block or instance constructor. Let's see about other values, because these are whatever the code you have written right inside these blocks. Instance constructor, inside constructor, inside instance block. Because while executing this program, right, first while creating, at the time of creating the object, first instance block code will be executed. That's why inside instance block is printed here. You can see inside instance block, and then the next step will be, it will execute a constructor. That's why we got inside constructor statement on the command prompt here. And then we got like a value is 10, b value true, because what is the value you have stored here? A value is 10, b value true. The name is ram here. See here, name value is ram, and then d value is 10.5, f value is 20.5. That means whatever the values we have, whatever the variables we have initialized with the values, those variables should be outside the inside the constructor, outside the I mean sorry, inside the class, outside the constructor, outside the block, outside the method. And to access those variables inside the static area, we need to create one object. If you see at line number 25, this is the line we have created an object, and to read those values, we need to use that reference variable. On that reference variable, we need to call those variables here. At line number 27, to get the a value, we have used object reference variable. On that, we have used variable name, and then here same way object reference variable, and then variable name, and then object reference variable and the variable name, and then object variable, and then we have used reference, we have used variable name. Like this, we can access the I mean instance variables inside the static area. One more time, let me repeat. To access the instance variables inside the static area, we need to create one object. On that object, we need to call those variable names. That's it. We can read those variables and we can print those variables, or we can use how many way, I mean, whatever way you want to use it, right? You can use in that way. This is the second point. If you see, the first point is what is instance variable. I have covered. How to access the instance variables inside the static area, I have covered. Now let me covered one more point, how to access these instance variables inside non-static or instance area. Let me try to show you that one as well. Here whatever the here is there, right? So for now, let me try to I mean let me try to create one method here. This is static area, right? Whatever I have shown you, because this method declare is static. That's why we are calling this method as a static area or static method. Now I want to create one instance area or instance method. Simply let me after this one, I mean after main method syntax, we need to create. For example, let me write that method public void. I'm not returning anything here. I'm not returning anything here. I just want to print those variables. That's why I'm declaring this method return type is void here, and then print method is there. Let me see. Or else I can use like print is fine. Print values. Okay. I'm just using here some one curly braces, so that curly brace starts and ends indicates like that curly brace, it's the method starts at line number 35, and the line number 39 is the end for the this particular method print values. Okay, here I want to access these variables, I mean I want to access these variables from where, inside this instance area, because we did not declare this method as static, method with static keyword. That's why we are calling as instance. Here, see, I did not declare. So this method is an instance area. So let me try to use read these variables inside this instance area. Let me do like static system dot out dot println. Okay, println of like this. We just need to use like a value is. See here, we no need to create to access instance variables inside instance area or non-static area. We no need to create any object. We can simply use that variable name. That's it. Like this. A. See what is the value name here? A. And then in similar way, let me copy this one. I can quickly complete this one. Control C. Come here. Control V. Let me use like this so that I will control V. Control V. Here first variable name is a, the next variable name is we need to use b here, and then whatever the variable name, that variable name we need to use here. We don't need to create any object here, and the next variable is we have used like name here, name value, and then use the variable name is name. Okay, and then come down here, what is the variable next, we have used w here, d. Come here and use the same reference variable name here. The next one is f here, and then use fs. Okay, and then come here. So I and we just declare this variable. Okay, this method print values instance method we have declared. But thing is, as I told you, JVM always look for the main method and it starts execute the main method, but it will not look for any other methods. To execute this line of whatever the code you have written inside print values method, right? This method needs to call from the main method. To call this method, right? We need to create one object here. Already at line number 25, we created one object, right? We just use this object. Control C. Come here on this object, control V dot, we need to call same method print values. Just copy this one, use this here. Okay, it is not copied, that's why it is giving earlier value. Let me use control C. Come here, use for calling the method we need to pass parenthesis and then use semicolon. See, this is the method calling, instance method calling. Okay, and if you see, now let me see. For now, let me comment this one so that I don't want to, execute these lines and I don't want to confuse here. So let me try to comment so that when I comment this one, right, at runtime JV will not run these lines of code. So let me see. At this time, we are expecting what is the value 10. 10, what we have 10, and then we are expecting true here, and we are expecting ram here because we have used ram variable here, and then here we are expecting d 10.5, and then we are expecting 20.5. Okay, 20.5. Let's see whether we are getting same values or not. Let me try to compile this one, java c instance variable demo.java, and let me run it. Let me try to use java and then use here. See, forget about first line, two lines. I told you, right? While creating the object, here we have created object. While creating the object, first it will execute the instance block. This is the instance block, so it is printed inside instance block, and then next it will execute the constructor. That's why it is printed inside constructor on the command prompt. The next one is, see, we did not create any object here inside instance area. So, but let me write. This is the instance method, or we can write like non-static method. Okay, and then inside this one, what it when we use just a variable name, it is printing like 10 true, name 20, name ram 10.5, 20.5. Okay, so let me try to see. You get a10 bit true, name value is ram, d value 10.5, f value 25 20.5. Now I want to make one attempt here. So like this, without creating any object, I want to access these variables inside static method only. Earlier we have seen, we have created an object and we have used those variables by using object name dot variable name. But now I want to try to access those variables inside static method in without creating any object. Let's see, are we going to access those variables or not? If there is any error, what is the error we are going to get? At what time we are going to get an error? We will see. As per my understanding, we are going to get an error at compile time error. Let's see we are going to get or not. So here, uh, let me comment this entire method here. Okay, let me try to comment this one. There is multiple line comments also available inside Java, but I will cover that one later. For now, this is single line comments. Okay, so here you just uncomment this one, comment this one, and uncomment the first line. I want to remove this object name here. See here, I'm just trying to access a variable with a variable name a. I did not create any object anyway. Okay, Let's see whether we are able to get a value equal to 10 or not. But as per my understanding, we should get compile time error here. C means compile time error. Okay, let's see. Let's try to execute this one. Java's instance variable. You can see instance variable demo.java class is there. At line number 27, there is an error. What it is saying? Non-static variable cannot be referenced from the static context. It is saying like a is a non-static variable. That means instance variable. That variable cannot be referenced or called from the static reference, or nothing but the called also you can use. Called from a static context. Static context means here this method is a static area, right? Static context or static area, static method, both are same only. Here we can't access now instance variable inside the static context variable without creating any object. That is the meaning of this one. Okay, let me go to next topic. If you see here, I'm able to cover inside the static area, inside non-static area, instance area. That these are I have covered. Next one is what is the JVM default behavior for the instance variables? See, as per my understanding, you just declare the variables. You just declare the instance variables, and you did not assign any value for that one. Then at the runtime, these variables will be assigned with the default values. Here let me show you. For the integer, default value is 0. Okay, for the boolean, default value equal to false. For the string, default value equal to null. Okay, let me try to write one program for this one, or I will cover the same thing in the same one here as well. So here I have written this program, right? Let's remove these variables here, or values for this one. Let's come and see what values we are going to get here. I am going to remove the RAM as well for this one, and I am going to remove the all the values. Okay, let me try to. So here, if you see, I just declare the variables here, instance variables without initialization. You just make it init here. Init stands for initialization. Okay, I mean without initialization, I mean without providing any values for these variables, we just declare these variables. I just want to see what values will be provided by the JVM at runtime. What are the default values? Okay, so here when you come down, just come down and then try to create object. I just want to access those variables inside static area. So for accessing the instance variables inside static area, we need to create an object. At line number 26, we have created an object. Just uncomment these ones. Okay, for to check what are the default values we are getting for the integer, boolean, string, and then float, double. Okay, this 34 we know is not required, line number 34, because this is for calling the instance method. But anyhow, that instance method is commented. So let me go on here, line number 28, right? We just need to use object name here because we have removed, right? Just now we have seen this one. So here use this one. Now this time we won't get any compile time error here. Let me save this one. But as per my understanding, we should not get 10 true ram 10.5 20.5, because we did not provide those values for these variables here. So let's see what values we'll get at runtime by the JVM. Let me try to save this one, and then let me try to compile once. It is compiled successfully. Let me try to execute this one. You can see what is the value for a here? We got 0, because what is the a type is integer. We got 0. Boolean type B. The default value for the boolean variable is false. That's why we got false here. Okay. And then the next one is the default value for the string type is null. So that's why we got null here. And the default value for the double is 0.0, and the default value for the float is 0.0. So with this we are able to cover what is the JVM default behavior for instance variables. So what is the default behavior for the instance variables? If you don't initialize those variable instance variables, okay, by manually, then at runtime JVM will provide default values for the instance variables. So the default value for the integer variable is 0, default value for the double variable is zero point 0, default value for the float variable is zero point 0, and the default value for the boolean type variable is false, and default value for the string type variable is null. Okay, with this I am able to cover JVM default behavior for the instance variables. The next one is where instance variables will be stored inside JVM. Okay, generally when you consider this, when you take the JVM, let me try to write this one. Let's assume this is the JVM. Okay, this is the JVM here. Inside this JVM, we'll have one more block here. Let me do this one. I want to create big block here. This is one block. Actually, if you can say this first block is JVM. Okay, and then this next block is we're having called method area here. You can say method, sorry, heap area. This is called heap area. Inside this heap area, we will have object here. Let me create one object here. This is one object. Okay, inside this object, we will get like int a equal to 10. Okay, next, uh, let me write shortcuts boolean b equal to true. Okay, and then d equal to 10.5, and then we'll get like f equal to 20.5, 20.5, like this you have declared it, those will be declared here 20.5, and then we will get like name equal to ram. Okay, like this it will be stored. So when this JVM, I mean, where our instance variable is stored is generally JVM is there. Inside JVM, we are having heap area. Heap area is nothing but the location where our all objects will be stored and instance variable is stored. See here, these objects, whatever the instance variables we have cleared, right, as of now we have created, these instance variables are part of the objects only. So that's why we call it as attributes. Okay, or else we call it as object level variables also. Object level variables. So let me repeat, whatever the variable instance variables are we have created, those variables are part of the object and the part of the objects, and these variables will be stored inside JVM. We're having heap area. Inside heap area, all the objects will be stored. And as I told you, these instance variables are part of the object. So these instance variables are available stored inside heap area. Okay, that is one thing. So here we can say instance variables are like these are the instance variables are attributes or object level variables. Okay, this is okay, right? And I these variables, as I told you, all the instance variables will be stored inside JVM heap area. And to go very deeply inside heap area, we're having objects. Inside those objects, these variables will be stored. This is the diagram for this one. So, and let me try to cover one more point here. These instance variable values will be changed from object to object. Okay, here these objects, right, I will cover this point, right? I mean, for now, let's remember these instance variable values are changed from object to object, because here I told you in this one, in this program, I just initialize these variables directly here. Earlier I have initialized, right? Those variables are directly initialized here, but we can initialize those variables while creating the object as well. That's why I'm saying like these instance variable values are changed from object to object. For example, when you create one object, right, these values will be like 10 true, ram 10.5, 20.5. But when you create next time object, right, the value 10 might be with the that integer, this integer variable a will be initialized with 20, and boolean variable is initialized with false, like that. Okay, for now remember like this. Okay, with this I am able to cover what is the variable, how many types, what is the variable, how many types are there inside for the variables. And again, here we are having division 1, division 2. What are the types are available inside division 1, what are the types are available inside division 2, what is the instance variable, and how to access the instance variable from the static area, how to access the instance variable inside the non-static or instance area, what is the default behavior for the instance variables by the JVM, where these instance variables stored inside JVM. I covered everything. So if you have any doubts on these instance variables, please do mention those doubts in the comment section. I will try to clarify your doubts. Please do like, share, and subscribe, and please provide more encouragement to me. Thank you so much, guys.